Hello there folks, I'm Dan Brown from asortofinterestinglife.com. You're joining me on board good old Narrowboat Tilly, and today we're going to have a quick chat about general condensation. Now, it's something that I get a lot of questions about with, do you have condensation on the boat and damp and stuff like that? And it's one of those things that it's very difficult to really get to the bottom and heart of the problem and solve outright. And we'll have a look in a moment at a few different things. But really, I think, especially on old boats like my humble Tilly here, she's very small for a start, and she's very old, and the insulation and stuff behind all of this wood and things that you can see isn't the greatest in the world, so that doesn't really help. But it's sort of something that, it's not the worst problem in the world, and it's not like I'm coming in here and everything's dripping wet at the end of the working day or anything like that. But when you're on board, and I find if there's two or more people on here, the windows, even in the sort of relatively warm weather, the windows will start to steam up in the evenings and things like that. And of course, there's the actual cooking element, which is where the real sort of condensation comes from. And then over the winter, obviously having extremely cold glass panels that on Tilly, once again, are very, very thin. And if it's winter and you've got freezing temperatures outside, you can imagine how much condensation can go on very thin windows that are in those circumstances. And it's not a case of solving the problem outright, as I say. It's more a case of managing it and doing what you can to try and alleviate all of the stresses of having such condensation. Cooking is definitely the leading cause of it. And over the winter, keeping the fire going and having a nice piping hot boat, I think certainly helps. And keeping everything nice and at a sensible temperature certainly seems to ease the problem a little bit. But ultimately, it's about airflow and trying to do the most you can to increase the amount of steam from cooking and things like that that are heading outside. But I do have a couple of the simple dehumidifiers, moisture collectors, whatever you want to call them, which we'll just have a very quick look at. The simplest way that you can really sum up where the problem of condensation can really arise is if we just look straight down the boat here and consider if you're boiling water on the pans just there. You can imagine having steam rising in such a small area and almost every surface being only a few centimetres at best away from a cold metal plate of all of the boat body. You can see how there can be a lot of cold surfaces, but even without those, the sheer amount of steam filling up such a small area, and as you can see, it's not as if the roof is huge and high or filled with air vents. Of course, there are vents dotted all over the place, but you're never going to be able to disperse a boiling pan or two, yet alone if you have stuff going in the oven as well. I've recently taken the front cratch cover off the boat, so that means I can have these doors open now, which when coupled with turn around, the back door being open, can effectively turn the boat into just being a rather large tube. So that obviously helps with the airflow and helps to get a lot of the steam out and just keep some fresh, drier air coming into the boat. I've just got a couple of dehumidifiers, moisture traps, moisture collectors to show you, and these are what I tend to use personally on board, just to take a bit of moisture out of the air. Particularly, like I say, if you're cooking, it gets absolutely crazy in here. You can imagine steam rising up to a ceiling that is literally maybe 3-4 foot above it. But something like this is the standard, like very cheap version of a dehumidifier. You can buy them in all sorts of packs individually or packs of 3. Sort of thing you can find these days in the cheap shops that are springing up all over the nation. And if we open this one up, see, it's just a case, take off the foil wrap there that obviously seals it watertight, and then it's just got these pellets here that of course start to absorb the moisture through the air. Do these work? Well, I've got another one here, and I don't know if you're picking this up on the camera, but there is an awful lot of moisture collected in that. As you can see, these are no longer loose, and there's a lot less of them as the moisture's been absorbed and then dropped down into the bottom part. I think you can see there the difference that we've got in them. So those are something that I use. I normally keep maybe one of these sort of in the top corner of the boat and the bottom corner of the boat, or whichever way around you want to say, the front and the back, the bow and the stern. And what I've bought recently, and I'm hoping that this might be even more effective than just the small ones, is this. This is a Kill Rock moisture trap. I think this was maybe about £3 at the absolute maximum from one of the I don't know which one in particular, but one of the high street discount chains in the UK, for want of a better, less marketing speak thing. As you can see, it's a similar idea where it is basically just one of these, but only a longer one with a much larger, much more open area to absorb the moisture through. You have got, well, let's have a proper look at how you use these. So you can see it comes in a few different parts. We'll just pop that off. And as it says there, it comes with a free extra refill. If we pop those open, you can see we've got these refills, which are basically going to be something very similar to what's in there. And as this works, and the general setup for this is the nice simple thing of, this is the top part, just like the top part on one of these, which we're going to put our moisture collecting balls or whatever it's called in. If we pop this down like that, if I can get that lined up. Now the idea is that once these start to go solid after they've started collecting damp, you will then obviously be able to drop that bottom part off and take all of that out in one go. But to fill it, you've just got this small opening here, which that comes from, and all the moisture will be collected in the bottom there. So if we pop that in, so that's nice and secure. Let's just check that all of our filming and everything's all going well. Yeah, that's lovely. Right then, so something for this, which is as simple as, you can hear the drawer open in the background. Let's cut the top off this. And again, this is just nice, simple. This is almost more sort of crystally rock sort of formation than the others. And we're just going to fill this top part here. Obviously you're going to expect some of them to fall through to the bottom. And I don't know if you're picking up just how much more there is of this stuff than in the other ones. I think I should have probably cut a smaller hole and shuffled this out a little bit better so that I didn't get all of this stuff going everywhere. Whoops. Well, I am amazed just how much of this there is. Considering that the bags seem to fit in there easily, I feel as if I am filling this up an awful lot. But basically, all this has got to be is just a better, more efficient version of those ones that I've just shown you. And I will be more than happy. And like I say, it's these little sort of things that help just manage the problem. It's not like you could fill the boat with tons of these and absorb every single bit of moisture that ever comes in the air, so that when you walk on it, you feel your skin start to dry out because it's so dry in here. Oh, fair play. That's surprisingly full, and hopefully that will work just as well as the other ones, because if it does, then with that much stuff in there, I'm assuming that's going to catch an awful lot of moisture. So yeah, that's nice and simple. Obviously, if you so wish now, you could, you could scoop the bottom ones out and drop those in the top as well. And yeah, that's just a very quick look at those. That's the Kill Rock Slimline Moisture Trap. And these ones that I've just shown you are, these are the sort of standard ones you'll find all over the place, in various styles, in various packets and all that. On that note, I'm going to wrap things up and say thank you very much for watching. This has just been a quick video. I know it's not the super duper answer and in-depth scientific approach to, yes, this is condensation, this is why it's here, and this is exactly what you can do to stamp it out forever. As I say, on Tilly, I can't really destroy the problem. Newer boats and different heating systems certainly give different levels of condensation, but it's something that I do get a lot of messages about, and as I say, it's something that's more about management than actual solving the problem forever. I hope that it's at the very least been useful, or give you a few things to think about, and maybe give you some ideas on your own boat, or if you're looking at getting a boat, what to expect and how you can maybe set up your own boat to deal with things like damp and condensation. But until the next time, thanks for watching. Check out my other videos, subscribe, like the Facebook page. Feel free to add me personally on Facebook and Twitter for loads of boaty pictures and general canal life updates. And check out my books for the Kindle. The Narrowboat Lad's the first one. You might want to start there. If not, well, still have a fantastic week. I hope to see you around very soon. and farewell.